Heartwarming transformation, young billionaire's unbelievable response to a poor girl and her battle against life's hardships. Emily awoke to the faintest light of dawn creeping through her window, stretching out the shadows in her small, cluttered kitchen. The place smelled faintly of burnt toast and coffee, remnants of her early morning routine. Slipping on her worn sneakers, she felt the familiar pang of responsibility bills piled high on the kitchen table, her mother's quiet pain of illness, her siblings' laughter that masked their struggle. Every step toward work weighed down heavy, each thought echoing the reminder of her endless fight against the tides of financial despair. In the heart of the bustling suburban town, Emily poured her heart into waitressing at the local diner. Every refill, every plate served sat on her shoulders with grace. People blessed her with smiles and small talk, but few understood the fire inside her. She carried the American spirit, resilient yet often weary. Meanwhile, in stark contrast, Tyler's life glittered with luxury. The young billionaire lived a filtered existence, surrounded by fast cars and even faster parties. Yet, as he stepped onto the balcony of his high-rise apartment, staring out at the distant horizon, he felt a hollowness gnawing in his chest. Their worlds collided during a lavish charity gala, a spectacular display of wealth with a veneer of purpose. As Emily floated between entrees and champagne flutes, she overheard whispers about her family facing eviction. Her breath hitched, threatening to spill her tears. Just as she steadied herself, Tyler's penetrating gaze caught hers across the crowded room, moments of silence narrowing the world between them. "Can I help you?" he asked, voice steady yet soft. Something about Emily drew him in her strength despite the weight she bore. As they exchanged words, Emily spoke of dreams crushed yet still flickering, her hope a raw wound yet shining with tenacity. Tyler, trapped in an existence where everything was handed to him, suddenly felt unmoored. For the first time, grandeur seemed irrelevant. Here was a woman showing what truly mattered. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Their unlikely friendship blossomed over late-night talks and shared laughter, shaking the walls of Tyler's glimmering bubble. Emily inspired him, igniting a desire to strip the layers of superficiality surrounding him. But as the months turned into an emotional dance, disparities loomed like dark clouds. The tension crackled when Emily learned of Tyler's initial intentions. Charity was merely a tool in his hands. Feeling betrayed, heartbroken, she faced him, anger and disappointment flashing in her eyes. Their futures tilted on the edge of a knife. Tyler stood silently, grappling with his choices: the easy road or the profound, sincere connection he found in her. Just when the open wound appeared too raw to bear, chaos erupted at the gala. Amidst the opulence, the room swelled in uncertainty, forcing choices that would bring both of them face to face with those lingering questions about identity, transformation, and trust. The gala erupted in chaos, mingling laughter with the panic-drenched gasps of shocked guests. A wine glass shattered on the floor, drawing attention away from Tyler and Emily's brewing confrontation. For a heartbeat, it pulled them back to the present, trapping them in the tumult of the moment. Tyler's brows furrowed as the waitstaff scrambled to handle the unexpected disarray, but his gaze remained locked on Emily, whose expression mirrored confusion and hurt. "Emily," he finally said, his voice strained, trying to reach her amidst the noise. "Look, I don't," she cut him off, venom lacing her words. "Don't try to explain. You've played your part, right? The dedicated philanthropist, the hero, while I'm just a backdrop for your image." He stepped closer, his heart racing as tensions escalated. This was not how it was supposed to unfold. He hadn't meant for her to find out like this. But Emily's pain was palpable, a raw wound that made him ache deep within. "It was like that. I wanted to do something real. That's why I found you. Found me? She echoed, incredulous. You think that makes it better? You were just looking for a good story, Tyler. I'm not a charity case. The room around them continued its frantic dance, but in that moment, it was just the two of them. Guests slid past, unaware of the storm brewing in the heart of the gala, unaware that lives were hanging in the balance. Tyler struggled to find the right words, the right tone, anything that could bridge the widening chasm between them. Let me show you who I really am, he implored, determination churning in his chest. I didn't realize how much I could feel until I met you. You've changed me, Emily. Her face softened for a fraction of a second before the walls came crashing back, fortifying her resolve. Changed you? By making you confront your privilege. You love to play the savior part, Tyler. But you're still that same guy, living in his golden tower. You think you can just swoop in and make everything better with your money? No. He protested, desperation lacing his voice. I don't want to fix you or your life. I want to understand. I want to help if you'll let me. For the first time, her steel facade cracked, revealing a flicker of vulnerability behind the defiance. Help me how? With what? Cash? Charity donations? You can't solve every problem with your money. Suddenly, the sound of sirens pierced the air outside, invading their bubble of conflict. Tyler's heart raced. The chaos felt suddenly real, a reminder that their worlds were colliding, and they were caught in the crossfire. What do you want? Emily asked, her voice barely above a whisper now. What do you need from me? I don't want anything except the chance to be real with you. Honestly, he urged, feeling the weight of every word. Let us start over. Just you and me, without all the noise. We can navigate this together. Emily's eyes searched his, trying to peel back the layers of glitz and glamour, looking for the truth beneath. Everything was swirling in her mind. Could he be genuine? Could his heart mirror hers, all masked by misunderstanding? I don't know, Tyler, she whispered, the fight leaving her voice as the foundation of her resolve trembled. What if this is just another illusion? At that moment, the lights dimmed, and an announcement echoed through the gala hall as a spotlight fell upon them. Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the disruption. Please, return to your celebrations. The night is still young. But for Emily and Tyler, time felt suspended. The urgency in the air thickened, pushing them closer together and teetering on the edge of clarity or confusion. Would they forge a new path together or slip back into the roles their worlds demanded? As the noise of the gala surged, they each stood at a precipice, teetering over uncertainties that could either lift them to heights unknown or plunge them into the depths of despair. Would this be their turning point or their end? The answers seemed to linger just outside their grasp, hidden in the magic of the evening waiting to unfold. Emily's breath hitched as the spotlight illuminated their tense expression, casting shadows across the floor. The gala swirled around them, laughter and chatter resuming, yet the world felt muted, dimmed in comparison to the sudden intensity of their confrontation. Tyler's plea hung in the air like a raw, wounded echo, begging her to reconsider. Emily, his voice broke through the noise again, steady yet vulnerable. This is real. I want to be with you. No pretenses. Just us. In that moment, a quick flash of doubt crossed Emily's face. Could it really be that simple? She latched onto the thought desperately, poised at the edge of hope and fear. But as she looked into Tyler's eyes, something shifted. The fervor of his determination sparked a warmth inside her, igniting a longing she tried to keep buried. Okay, she whispered, unsure where to take this leap. But it has to be real. No disguises. No more hidden agendas. He nodded, a glimmer of relief washing over him. I promise you, no more games. Just honesty. In that heartbeat, something changed between them. Tension softened, and the noise of the gala faded to a dull background hum. The chaos around them transformed into a mosaic of color instead of distractions, a bizarre yet beautiful backdrop to their burgeoning connection. Emily took a step closer to him, her heart racing. How do we even start? Our lives are so different. I don't care about that, Tyler replied, sincerity flowing from every word. Let us find out who we really are away from all this wealth and illusion. Just the two of us in a real world. Suddenly, a loud commotion erupted near the entrance, pulling their attention. A group of people huddled around two uniformed police officers, looks of shock and surprise written across their faces. Tyler turned back to Emily, caught between the burgeoning moment between them and the urgency of the unfolding drama. Do you want to go see? He asked, his brows knit together. For a split second, hesitation clutched at her heart. But then she nodded, curiosity taking over. They moved towards the growing crowd, hand in hand, drawn together by the magnetic pull of shared moments, uncertain yet determined. As they wove through the throng of partygoers, Emily couldn't help but steal glances at Tyler. The moment felt electric, threading hope into her doubts. As they reached the front, the scene unfolded. An artist, clearly distraught, stood in front of a table where several paintings lay shattered. A murmur of sympathy and indignation swept through the crowd. It was my only chance. The artist shouted, his voice thick with desperation. Tyler froze, his jaw tightening as he studied the scene. Emily looked up at him. What are you thinking? I want to help, he said, urgency threading through his voice. What if I could buy his paintings? Let him have a chance to start over. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. But what good would that do? You can't just fix problems with money. I'm not trying to fix him, Tyler argued, his intensity rising again. I just want to show him that there's still beauty and hope, even after a fall. She searched his eyes for meaning beyond the superficial, her heart pounding. Could he genuinely be this transformed? You truly believe that? Yes, he answered, conviction lining his words. Let us do this together. It struck her then, a wave of possibility flooding her heart. Maybe this was how they would find their footing, redefining their worlds hand in hand. With a nod of determination, they stepped forward, each breath swelling with connection. As they hugged the artist, they knew there was still so much to face in the collision of their realities. But in that moment of empathy, surrounded by strangers, they discovered a thread that could weave together their divergent paths. Little did they know, change was brewing in their wake as well. While they began navigating this delicate transformation, a soft voice behind them spoke. What about the promise you made, Emily? Are you sure you're ready for the truth this time? Turning slowly, they froze, recognizing the voice, the hard edge of Emily's past creeping uninvited back into their fragile moment. Was she prepared for what lay ahead, or had she opened a door she couldn't close again? Emily's stomach dropped as she turned to face the voice, instinctively pulling away from Tyler. It was a familiar figure, one she had hoped to never see again, her older brother, Josh. Standing there, arms crossed, he radiated an unyielding aura of judgment. He always had a knack for piercing through her insecurities, and this moment was no exception. Josh, she breathed, a mixture of shock and dread flooding her body. Tyler instinctively stepped closer, sensing her discomfort. You're really here? Emily managed to stammer, fighting to mask the flood of emotions. She had sworn she was done with the past, yet here it was, looming before her like a dark shadow. You think you can just waltz back into a world that you walked away from? What happened to the Emily who had a plan? His voice felt like ice, sharp and unforgiving. Tyler's presence felt like a buoy in the storm of Emily's embarrassment. He squeezed her hand tighter, a silent show of support. Hey, maybe now isn't the time for this, he said, his tone gentle yet firm. Josh's eyes darted between them, filled with skepticism. And who are you, exactly? Another rich kid playing savior? His words cut like a razor, leaving Emily feeling vulnerable, exposed to the very core. Josh, stop, she said, her resolve hardening, but her voice trembled. I don't want to watch you make a fool of yourself. You're not one of them, Emily. You never were, he pressed, his words laced with intention. You belong with your own kind. Fury ignited within her. Was he really here to belittle her choices? To snuff out a spark she was finally beginning to kindle? I'm trying to change, to be better. This isn't just some game for me. Change? He laughed bitterly. You're still playing dress up, pretending to be someone you're not. Look at this guy, do you really think you can fit in? It felt as if his words ripped through the little tapestry of hope she had started to weave with Tyler. But a fire burned bright inside her, she wasn't going to let Josh extinguish it. I don't need your approval, Josh. I'm figuring this out on my own. This is my life. For a moment, silence enveloped them, thick and heavy. The whispers of bystanders morphed into a distant buzz, but Emily wasn't focused on them anymore. She felt a powerful shift within herself. Emily, I just want what's best for you, Josh replied, his voice searching but still tinged with skepticism. What did best really mean? Was it about comfort, or was it about risk? About finding the people who saw her, who wanted her for who she really was? She looked at Tyler, seeing the sincerity in his eyes. The warmth of their connection felt real, even amidst the chaos. Things don't have to be black and white, Tyler interjected, breaking the tension. Life is messy, and sometimes it's about who you choose to be with, regardless of status. We're here for each other. Josh scoffed, but Emily's heart leapt. Maybe this wasn't just about her past colliding with her present, but about forging something new. She took a step toward Tyler, grounding herself in the resolve that had begun to take root. So what's it going to be, Emily? Josh pressed, lingering stubbornly, unwilling to let go. Are you going to choose his world over the one that raised you? Over your family? Emily hesitated, the question hanging in the air, heavy and disorienting. The truth was, she could hardly see what her path ahead looked like. The complexities of her life seemed to blend into a fog, and yet there was Tyler's hand squeezing hers, the essence of hope. What if I want both? She asked quietly, surprised by the words flowing out of her. Could she even have both? A life that was genuine and real, yet still embraced her roots. Josh frowned, uncertainty flickering across his face. It doesn't work that way, but Emily was different now. Change was happening within her, and she refused to be a victim of past decisions. As the crowd continued to murmur and the night pressed on, she glanced at Tyler, drawing strength from him. The question loomed larger than anything Josh had just proposed: could she truly craft her own identity in a clash of worlds? In that moment of clarity, she vowed to explore the terrain of her new life, even if it meant walking a path strewn with uncertainty. And just before the moment could settle, Tyler's face shifted, a look of concern washing over him, as if sensing something profound shifting in the air behind them. Emily, I think he began, but the commotion behind them escalated again, pulling their attention. What was happening now? All of a sudden, an unsettling energy swirled around them like an incoming storm. The night felt charged, and Emily's heart raced. Whatever awaited, she couldn't ignore it. She wasn't ready for more revelations, yet it was possible she was about to face another turning point. Emily's heart pounded in her chest as a surge of tension ballooned in the air. The nearby laughter and chatter faded into an eerie silence, as if the universe was holding its breath. She could feel the shift in the crowd, the way eager eyes turned towards something just out of sight. Tyler, what's going on? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. He shifted, posture tense, as he scanned the scene behind them. It looks like there's a fight breaking out, he replied, his grip on her hand tightening just a fraction. Before she could respond, a shout pierced through the night. Get off me! I didn't do anything. The voice was frantic and young, sending a jolt of instinct through Emily's veins. She stepped forward, drawn by the commotion, but Tyler pulled her back gently. Stay close, he cautioned, but another shout cut into the air. Help! Emily's instincts kicked in at full force. Without a second thought, she shook free from Tyler's grasp and bolted towards the noise. As she pushed through the crowd, adrenaline coursed through her, carrying with it a mix of fear and determination. What if someone was truly in trouble? As she broke into a clearing, a group of teenagers was illuminated by the flickering lights from nearby booths. In the center of the chaos was a girl, not much older than Emily, struggling against two boys who seemed to be mocking her rather than helping. Anger surged within Emily, the unfairness of it all igniting the fire she had felt moments ago when confronting Josh. "Hey!" Emily shouted, her voice slicing through the tension like a knife. The crowd momentarily paused, shifting their attention. "Leave her alone." The boys turned, surprise etched on their faces. "And who are you supposed to be?" "Her knight in shining armor." One of them scoffed. Tyler appeared just behind her, his presence reassuring. "Walk away. Now," he said, voice steady and commanding. The boys hesitated, exchanging glances, but the crowd's shifted focus seemed to embolden them. "We'll deal with this later, princess," one sneered at the girl, before shoving her away and swaggering off into the mass of people. Emily rushed to the girl's side, concern flooding her. "Are you okay?" The girl looked up, her eyes wide and scared. "I think so. I just wanted to enjoy the night they just started, I didn't do anything." Feeling a surge of empathy, Emily squeezed her hand. "You're brave. It's not easy to stand up to bullies." Tyler stepped closer, assessing the girl's condition. "If they come back, we'll be here. You're not alone." There was an electrifying strength in his words, something that transfixed Emily in a moment of clarity. She was no longer just a terrified girl hiding from her past. She was standing, hand in hand, with someone who believed in the strength of standing up for what was right. Emily glanced back at the crowd, a few murmured voices of support filtering around them. It felt different now. The atmosphere had shifted from one that was filled with judgment to one that was filled with camaraderie. A connection formed under the chaotic expanse of stars. As the girls started to calm down beside them, Emily felt something click inside her. There was power in vulnerability, strength in compassion. And maybe, just maybe, she could be the bridge between her old life and this new one. But then, the moment shattered like glass when she saw Josh pushing his way through the crowd, his expression a mixture of disbelief and fury. "What do you think you're doing?" he shouted, eyes blazing as he pointed towards her. Emily's stomach dropped again, a knot of tension tightening her chest. "Josh, please," she started softly, but his voice cut through. "No. You can't just walk away from this." He was relentless, his tone slicing deeper than she anticipated. The night held its breath once more, quieting as Emily faced him, pulse racing. Would she continue to stand firm in her newfound resolve, or would she fall back into old patterns? In this moment of crossroads, she realized that everything was at stake: her past, her present, and the future she desperately wanted to forge. What would she choose? It felt like the ground beneath her was shifting, uncertain and raw. But just as she opened her mouth to reply, she noticed a flicker of movement in the corner of her eye. Something else was happening, something that would change everything. What was coming now? The murmur of the crowd began to swell again, excitement mixing with disbelief as heads turned toward the flicker. It was a figure emerging from the shadows, stepping into the dim light of the fairground as if drawn by an invisible thread. Emily squinted, her breath hitching in her throat. There was something familiar about him, and as he drew closer, the recognition hit her like a wave crashing against the shore. It was Ryan, a boy from her school. He was a quiet one, always keeping to himself, but Emily realized he had an aura of confidence that was almost magnetic. "Josh," Ryan called out, voice clear and commanding, as he strode through the throngs of people. "Back off, man." The authority in his voice turned heads and cut through Josh's fury like a knife. "What's your problem, Ryan?" Josh snapped, frustration bubbling dangerously close to the surface. Are you seriously trying to intimidate a girl? Are you that low? Ryan's gaze didn't waver. Emily felt a flicker of hope lighting up her insides. Perhaps Josh would back down now. Emily's fingers clutched the girl's hand tighter. Together, they stood even firmer under Ryan's unwavering stance. It was silent for a moment, tension crackling in the air. The world seemed to draw in a breath, everyone waiting to see how this would play out. Emily could see the embarrassment creeping into Josh's eyes, his bravado faltering just a bit. Who do you think you are? Josh spat defiantly, though there was a hint of uncertainty in his tone. I'm someone who knows how to stand up for what's right, Ryan replied, his unflinching gaze sending a ripple of unease through the crowd. They shifted, some muttering quietly, their loyalties playing tug-of-war in their minds. The girl beside Emily, whose name Emily still didn't know, looked down, as if she was trying to take it all in. Emily squeezed her hand gently, the warmth of solidarity flooding their small circle. What do you want, Ryan? Josh changed his tactic, attempting to regain control of the situation. I want you to leave her alone, Ryan said firmly, stepping closer. Go find something better to do with your time than picking on people who don't deserve it. The crowd broke into whispers, excitement in the air. Was something shifting? Was this the moment they waited for, where the tide would turn against Josh's tyranny? Emily's heart raced as she watched the scene unfold, but she was also acutely aware of something deeper shifting within her own heart. She felt strength begin to bubble up, mixing with the fear that had once paralyzed her. The courageous stand taken by Ryan was the catalyst she needed. Josh opened his mouth to retort, but the venom in his words seemed dulled. His bravado felt thin, exposed under the weight of Ryan's confidence. Fine. We'll see about this later. With one last glare, he turned, the crowd parting for him, some backing away like they were witnessing a storm pass. Ryan turned to Emily and the girl, relief washing over his features. Are you two okay? Emily nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. Thank you, we really appreciate it. Don't mention it, he said, a warm smile breaking through. It's not right what he was doing. The girl finally raised her gaze, a hint of admiration shining through her earlier fear. I'm Anna, she said softly. Emily, she replied, feeling a connection growing between them. Ryan, he added, and we won't let people like Josh ruin our night. Something in Emily blossomed at that moment, hope threading through the chaos that had only a minute before felt suffocating. This was the spark she had been looking for. As they began to disperse and the air felt lighter, Emily's mind raced. What if she could help others in the same way Ryan had helped Anna? What if she could be the voice in standing against fear, against bullies? Just then, Ryan glanced back at her, catching her eye. You showed real courage back there. Emily felt her cheeks flush, doubt creeping in again. But who was she to think she could be brave? It was just a moment, she replied quietly. No, Ryan insisted, his voice firm. You have it. In you. I can see it. Don't underestimate yourself. As they moved together away from the crowded chaos, Emily's heart beat a little stronger. What had once felt like her silence was becoming a voice. But just as she turned to speak to Anna again, she noticed a flicker of familiar trouble approaching from the edge of the crowd. Could the night offer more than just the chance for redemption? What if the real test of her courage was just beginning? Emily held her breath, her heart racing as she recognized the approaching figure. It was Josh again, accompanied by a couple of his friends. Their faces were alight with mischief, and the confidence Ryan had once stripped from Josh seemed to have resurfaced. Panic washed over her, but she fought to keep her composure, her mind racing for a solution. Look who it is, Josh called out, his tone dripping with derision as he pointed a finger at Ryan. You think you're some kind of hero now? You really think you can stop me? Ryan stepped up beside Emily and Anna, the boy's presence a shield that both comforted and emboldened Emily. I'm not going to let you intimidate anyone here, he said defiantly. Josh smirked, then turned to Anna and Emily. What a trio we have. You sure you want him to protect you? All he's going to do is put a bigger target on your backs. His laugh echoed through the crowd, and Emily felt the heat rise in her cheeks. Maybe you should focus on the person staring back at you in the mirror, Anna piped up, her voice wavering but steady, surprising both Emily and herself with the words. It was a small but bold statement, infused with a hint of bravery that Emily had yet to fully embrace. Wow, look at that. Josh's eyes widened mockingly. The quiet girl finally found her voice. What's next? You going to start a revolution? Better a revolution than a tyranny, Ryan shot back, his unwavering gaze glued to Josh. You're not above anyone just because you're part of some clique. We're all human, and you're not untouchable. The crowd began to murmur, some nodding in agreement, others uncertain. Emily's heart soared a little, encouraged by the support, but the tension was still palpable. She exchanged a glance with Anna, their mutual nervousness feeding off each other. This was more than just about themselves, it was about breaking a cycle of fear. With newfound strength, Emily stepped forward, her voice trembling but loud enough to cut through the murmur. You think scaring us makes you stronger, Josh? She was surprised at the sting of her own words. But it only shows how weak you really are. The crowd fell silent, the weight of her statement hanging heavily in the air. Josh's expression shifted, surprise flashing across his face, followed by an angry scowl. He took a step back, momentarily stunned into silence. Come on, guys, he finally scoffed, turning to his friends. Let us get out of here. They're not worth it. As they walked away, Emily felt a rush of exhilaration swell inside her. She had spoken up, and it felt incredible to face her fear head-on. Following Josh's retreating figure, she noticed some in the crowd exchanging looks of admiration and respect. The atmosphere had shifted, she could feel it in her bones. Ryan's gaze met hers again, pride illuminating his face. You did great, Emily. You stood up for yourself and for Anna, he said, his words wrapping around her like a warm hug. Anna grinned, her earlier anxiety transforming into relief. I can't believe we actually did that, she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with a mix of disbelief and joy. I think we're just getting started, Emily whispered, as the adrenaline coursed through her veins. We can't let fear rule our lives anymore. Ryan nodded, determination evident in his eyes. Let us make a difference, together. And just as they turned, buoyed by their triumph, a ripple of movement caught Emily's eye again. From beneath the fair's bright lights, a familiar dark figure slipped unnoticed through the crowd, a knowing smirk shadowing their face. Emily's heart sank for a moment. Was this the calm before another storm? Would their moment of victory be short-lived? As the night continued to unfold, the questions hung in the air, promising that their journey toward courage and self-discovery had only just begun. What challenges awaited them, and could they stand strong together against whatever came next? As they walked away from the confrontation with Josh, a mix of exhilaration and uncertainty swirled within Emily. Her heart still raced, but it wasn't just from fear, it was a bubbling energy, something she'd never quite felt before. The streetlights flickered above them, casting a warm, golden glow over the fairgrounds, which now seemed more vibrant than moments ago. Anna linked her arm with Emily's, grinning from ear to ear. I didn't know you had it in you, she exclaimed, her voice carrying a joyful excitement. It felt good, Emily admitted, a shy smile creeping onto her face. Like I could finally breathe again. Ryan walked close, nodding in agreement. You really showed them, Em. If we can stand up like that, imagine how much stronger we can be together. The trio moved further into the fair, where the sounds of laughter and music filled the air. Cotton candy vendors grinned as they served sticky, sweet treats, and kids ran by, their faces painted in bright colors. The essence of the fair wrapped around them, a stark contrast to the heavy moment they had just faced. "I never thought you'd be the one to call Josh out like that," Anna said. "You were amazing." Emily ducked her head, her cheeks burning with warmth. "It was just a moment," she replied modestly. But deep inside, she felt a flicker of pride. Maybe this was just a beginning, that confidence could lead them somewhere better. Just as they took a moment to savor a few cotton candy smiles, laughter erupted nearby. A group of students, including those from Josh's crowd, were gathered around a fortune teller's booth. Intrigued, Emily felt a pull towards the scene. What would it be like to know what the future held? Swiftly, they joined the gathering crowd, their previous encounter momentarily erased under fresh excitement. "Step right up. See what fate has in store for you." The fortune teller's voice was melodic, almost hypnotic, as she gestured for the next person to come forward. Emily leaned in, a mixture of curiosity and skepticism filling her mind. Would she dare? "Are you going to do it?" Anna asked, her excitement palpable. With a gulp, Emily considered the spinning possibilities. What if she says something bad? Or something good? Ryan countered, his eyes bright with encouragement. Before she could think twice, she stepped up. The small, dimly lit booth was adorned with rich fabrics and the scent of incense danced in the air. The fortune teller's eyes locked onto Emily's, an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. "What brings you here, dear?" the woman questioned, her voice smooth as silk. Emily opened her mouth but found herself speechless. The weight of the moment pressed in on her, a mix of hope and fear. "Just looking for guidance," she finally managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. The fortune teller reached out and took Emily's palm, their skin lightly touching. "I see a great challenge ahead, but within it, a path that leads to strength and discovery." The word sent a jolt through Emily's heart. Was this what she and her friends had just experienced? But as those thoughts formed, she noticed a shadow lurking just outside the booth. The same dark figure that had lingered at the edge of the fair now stepped forward, a menacing glimmer in their eye. Emily's breath hitched. Could it be one of Josh's friends, waiting to strike again? "Stay back!" she shouted. But the atmosphere grew heavier, and the walls of confidence they had just built felt like they could crumble with a single word. Maybe the real challenge starts now, she thought in a panic, as the shadow moved closer. Emily's heart raced as the figure emerged from the night. Weaving through the crowd, the shadowy form shifted like an ink cloud against the bright colors of the fair, creating a stark contrast that sent a chill down her spine. It was a boy, though not much older than her, with a fierce expression that made her stomach twist uncomfortably. "Emily!" Anna called, her voice trembling slightly. "What are you? Just step back." Emily insisted, her instincts kicking in. She took a step forward, defensive, sensing that whatever this was, it was about to escalate. The fortune teller watched quietly, her penetrating gaze fixed on the confrontation brewing at the entrance of her tent. "I knew you'd show yourself," Josh's friend sneered, drawing closer. He assessed the trio with a contemptuous tilt of his head, then fixed his glare on Emily. "Heroics don't come without consequences, you know." Emily felt a wave of anger wash over her. "What do you want?" she shot back, her voice firmer than she felt inside. The words echoed against the fair's cheerful backdrop, but in her heart, she was drowning in doubt. "Just wanted to see what happens when you stick your nose where it doesn't belong," he replied, his voice low and mocking. The crowd around them grew quieter, eyes darting in curiosity and apprehension. It seemed, for a moment, that the world had paused in anticipation. Anna and Ryan instinctively moved closer, forming a united front beside her. The togetherness stoked a fire inside Emily, silencing the gnawing fear that tugged at her heartstrings. "Why don't you pick on someone your own size?" Ryan retorted, stepping slightly in front of Emily. His protective stance sparked a flicker of hope in her. They were in this together, and she would draw strength from that. Josh's friend scoffed, taking another step forward. The threat in his posture made Emily's breath quicken again. "You think you're tough, huh?" You don't know what I could do, he said, his voice a low growl. But suddenly, the fortune teller raised her hand. Enough, she commanded, defiance resonating in her voice. The collective tension in the air shifted. This is not the place for such darkness. Go while you still can. For a moment, Emily stood frozen, stunned by the woman's authority. The shadowy figure hesitated, glancing between the first serious challenge he had encountered and the trio that stood resolutely beside Emily. Finally, with an irritated grunt, he retreated. The crowd shifted, whispers of relief interspersed with murmurs of disbelief for how quickly the confrontation had been diffused. Emily's limbs felt like jelly as she turned back to her friends, relief flooding through her. That was intense, she finally breathed, her voice trembling slightly. Turning to the fortune teller, gratitude painted her expression. Thank you. The woman smiled knowingly, her eyes sparkling with wisdom. You are stronger than you believe, child, she replied softly. But remember, every challenge unveils something within you. Trust in your strength. As they retreated from the booth, each step felt lighter, like newfound air surged through Emily. Her heart still raced, yet this time not from fear. Perhaps she had faced danger today, but together, they had turned it into something empowering. Can you believe that just happened? Anna said, her voice bubbling with adrenaline. Maybe we really are stronger together, Ryan added, a grin spreading across his face. Just then, a flicker of movement caught Emily's eye. She turned, a shiver creeping up her spine as she glimpsed the shadow lingering in the distance, now intertwined with the fading music of the fair. It was watching them, waiting, biding its time. Her heart raced again, but this time with determination. What would happen if they confronted whatever this was head-on? Before she could voice the thought, she glanced at her friends, their expressions echoed the same anxious curiosity. Let us keep moving. We can't let fear win, she said, her voice steadying. As they moved away from the booth and deeper into the fair, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that the night was far from over. Whatever awaited them, it would require more courage than they had ever known. Would they rise to the challenge together, or would the shadows close in? Emily could hear laughter and excitement all around her, but inside, she felt the weight of the shadows that had followed them through the fair. With each step deeper into the bright lights and swirling colors, doubts crept into her mind like ivy on a wall. She glanced over at Anna and Ryan, their expressions burning with the thrill of victory from moments ago. Look! Anna suddenly exclaimed, pointing to the Ferris wheel towering above them, lit up like a jewel in the night. Let us ride that. We can see everything from the top. Emily nodded, but her heart was in knots. As they made their way toward the ride, the excitement of the moment mingled with the uncertainty of the figure still lurking in the background. Trust in her friends tightened her heart like a comforting embrace. Surely, they would face whatever came next together. They joined the line, waiting with an eager crowd. Each time the wheel turned, the light sparkled like stars against the dark canvas of the sky. Thoughts of Josh and his friends loomed in the back of her mind, but as they climbed into the swaying basket, she let out a breath. As the wheel ascended, the fair opened up beneath them, a swirling panorama of joy. I can't believe how far we've come, Ryan said, leaning against the edge and looking out. Look at us. We're here, together, standing strong against everything. You guys really helped back there, Emily replied, feeling warmth rise from her core, grateful for the support that made her feel invincible against the shadows of her past. Just then, they reached the top of the wheel, and Emily gasped. The view was breathtaking, the lights of the fair dancing below them, the soft breeze brushing by, and the night sky sprinkled with stars. It felt like magic. Nothing can touch us up here, she declared, laughter spilling out as her worries lifted with the wind. But as they took in the view, a dark figure caught her eye, standing at the edge of the fairgrounds. It was Josh, flanked by his friends, their eyes fixed on the very basket they occupied. Her heart sank, and the laughter faded. Looks like they haven't gone far, Ryan murmured, his voice tense, trying to keep the moment from darkening. Let them be, Anna said defiantly. We're here for ourselves now. In that moment, Emily realized something profound. She wasn't the scared girl hiding from her past, she was someone who could stand tall against them, alongside her friends. As they descended back to solid ground, Emily felt a renewed sense of purpose building within her. The chaos of before wasn't behind her, it was just another part of her journey to embrace. They stepped off the ride, and she turned to Anna and Ryan, determination shining in her eyes. We can't let them win. We need to show them what real courage looks like. Anna nodded enthusiastically, her gaze steady. Together, right? Absolutely, Ryan agreed, throwing a reassuring arm around her shoulders. With their hearts intertwined in a common goal, the trio moved toward Josh and his friends, who were waiting with impatient expressions etched on their faces. As they approached, Emily felt the old fear surge but tempered it with strength. Hey! She called out, her voice steady, meeting Josh's eyes directly. You don't get to dictate who we are anymore. What's this? A pep talk? Josh sneered, his confidence wavering under her gaze. But Emily stood, shoulder to shoulder with her friends, amping up her courage. No, it's not a pep talk. It's a reminder that we're stronger than your intimidation. You can't hold us down just because you think you're better. For once, she saw a flicker of uncertainty wash over Josh's face. He opened his mouth, probably to retort, but the air thickened with tension, and the crowd sized them up, watching in anticipation. So, this is it? A friend scoffed, trying to bolster the atmosphere. You think you can all take us on? Emily took a step closer, the fire inside her burning brighter than ever. No one needs to fight, but we're standing our ground. This isn't just your world anymore. It's ours too. The crowd shifted. Whispers of support passing between onlookers. Ryan and Anna stood resolutely by her side, lending weight to her words. Josh hesitated, and the shift in his demeanor made Emily realize, sometimes, it takes only one moment of courage to ignite change. The shadows weren't simply fading, they were metamorphosing into strength and defiance. As she held her ground, something incredible blossomed among them, uniting everyone present. They weren't merely writing the end of an old story, they were stepping into a new beginning. With a flicker of defeat passing through Josh's eyes, he looked around at the gathering crowd, a collective force. Fine. Whatever, he muttered, turning away, followed closely by his friends, their presence dissipating like smoke in the wind. Cheers erupted among onlookers. Emily, Anna, and Ryan felt their spirits lift, turning anxious breaths into laughter that echoed throughout the fairground. They weren't just a trio anymore, they were a growing community, empowered and ready to face whatever lay ahead. And that spark of victory ignited a hopeful light in Emily's heart, guiding her toward uncharted territories where she could forge her new identity, one filled with courage, passion, and the promise of endless possibilities. Just as they began to celebrate, she noticed the fortune teller watching from a distance, a knowing smile playing across her lips. Emily felt a thrill run through her. This was only the beginning. As they moved onward into the fair, their hearts united in triumph, Emily made a silent vow, no more shadows. They would embrace the light each moment, each challenge, leading them toward a future they could craft together. One of hope, strength, and transformation. Now, if you want to continue witnessing these incredible journeys, you need to subscribe now. Don't miss out on the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this ending. And please, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation and realize the power within them. This is the moment to show your support together, let's lift each other up. Don't wait not even one more second.